Hey guys, it's me, Double D, with another episode of Earthbound, and that red flash is gonna get annoying. In the last episode, we explored the Scaraba Caverns, or the Scaraba Pyramid, and made it to the southern part of the desert. And Pooh left us to learn the ways of the Starstorm, so it's just the three of us for a while. In this episode, we're gonna be exploring the southern part of the Scaraba Desert by talking to this guy. Since I'm dealing with some pretty rough stuff, I can't run my business in town. So yeah, what he has is weapons for Paula's, which we will use right after I have to reorganize my inventory. Yes. And the other thing we have is a crusher beam for Jeff. Who's going to get this? Actually, no, I am not going to get this because I believe we have the IQ to fix another item of Jeff's. However, there is one more item that is our particular interest, and that's the multi-bottle rocket. This is one of Jeff's most powerful weapons to have, so if you see a store selling multi-bottle rockets, buy them. As much as possible. Okay, this is all we can carry, so let's do it. At least we're going to be dealing with some new enemies. We have a high-class UFO, a beautiful UFO, and a Marauder Octobot. All three of which are very tough, especially considering the high-class UFO can cast some PSI shields that will ruin our day. However, we still do have some Rust Promoters that I forgot Paula was carrying some. I will use the Rust Promoter DX on the... Oh, that's all of them. Okay, so let's defeat these UFOs, because these can get annoying really fast. But fortunately, we have Rust Promoters. It didn't work on the high-class Marauder robots? Oh, that's sad. But at least it worked on the high-class UFOs. I might as well use the Rust Promoters now, so, you know, just to get rid of them, because we're gonna be getting a lot of items. Anyway, this is not the first time I've been recording this. I had a previous recording the last time, and it went so well. And then I realized I forgot to hit the record button. I felt like an idiot as soon as I found out, and good, I hit the record button this time. Yeah, that sucked so hard. Anyway, we got Royal Iced Tea. I don't think it's gonna help us, but we'll see. Anyway, so, if you talk to this guy... I'm not sure if it was the dungeon man, but there is a strange looking tower to the northwest. This key I picked up a little while ago shall maybe open the tower. You may have it, I do not need it. We got the key to the tower and Paul is holding it. Ooh, phone call. I thought it was my phone. Sorry to bother you, big bro. This is the Escargot Express. I had a phone call from a friend of yours recently. He asked me to hold on to the Hawkeye for you. Do you know anything about this? Well, since you know about this item, I'll hold on to it for you. If you need it, I'll deliver it to you whenever you want. Oh yeah, big bro. I'm glad I can help out you and your friends. Yeah, this bugs me even more. Pooh somehow got a hold of the phone when I highly doubt the master's gonna teach him the ways of the Starstorm is gonna let him use the phone. That just bugs me. And here's that strange tower. Well, we do have the key to the tower, so let's use it. Paul used the key to the tower. The key worked to open the door. You may enter, which I hope that's not his crotch or his butthole. That would be gross. Anyway, so this is Dungeon Man. My statistics show that 70% of people go to the right first. Brick Road. That is kind of true because everyone assumes the right is pretty much where you want to go. You are inside my body. Are we in his butt or the crotch? Because if so, that's just disgusting. Anyway, go to the left. There's an ATM, a phone, a bench to heal in, which we will use right now. Working through the night, Jeff fixed the broken cannon. It became the Spectrum Beam. So yeah, that is why I didn't buy the cannon or the beam, because Jeff already has one and it's much more powerful. Yeah, the Hyper Beam, it's now the Spectrum Beam. Also, if we go into this cave over here, it's a dungeon owner's obligation to hire a doctor and a nurse. Good to know that. But yeah, here's your hospital, so at least you won't be totally screwed. So, Dungeon Man. This is one of my favorite dungeons in the entire game. By the way, the enemies, you probably have seen them before. These enemies, well, at least in the first floor, yeah, his butt is the first floor, or at least his butt or crotch area. I can't tell which is which, and I don't want to know. These are all enemies we've seen before. specifically at the department store, which at this point of the game, even with 3 people with us, they're pretty much a joke at this point. Because we have 3 people with us, and we have leveled up way much since then. By the way, I might as well rest at the bench because, well, we got hurt a lot. They could still hurt, but not as much anymore. Anyway, so, yeah. Also, take the time to read these signs. Keep this board in mind. Yeah, they are really funny. In fact, even though you can't get up there now, you might be able to later. Brick Road. And this one. Your first goal is to reach the 4 ropes. Way to give away the puzzle to this dungeon. And what do you have to say? Place an item at the dead end. You're free to take it whenever you want. And that is why. It is so self-aware of all the things you will find in a typical RPG dungeon. And that is why I love Earthbound in general. It basically breaks the 4th wall, and it's basically self-aware of all the RPG tropes out there, and pretty much makes fun of them full force. While you explore the dungeon, why don't you make a pit stop? In case we have to poop. However, I wonder why I'm in this restroom right here. Just who am I? What is life all about? Oh, I'm sorry, did it make you nervous? I'm not dangerous, don't worry. So, is he basically peeing and pooping inside of him? Because if that's so, that's pretty gross. Even though actually, I don't know if I'm really into that gross stuff. Anyway, there is a useful item at the dead end after you make it quite a long walk. You see that? There is indeed a useful item, just like that sign said. So yeah, this dungeon is basically self-aware of all the things that make up a typical RPG dungeon. And pretty much makes fun of that, and I like that touch. By the way, we're gonna battle 3 things. Yeah, Dungeon Man pretty much embodies almost every RPG dungeon ever. Once a dungeon is built, monsters always start moving in. No duh, good sir. And there's a dead end with no sign, surprisingly. I'd like to read all the signs here because they contain something funny and something true about dungeons in general. Like this one. Items that are easy to get are usually the most disappointing. This is true because what's in here? $5. Yeah, $5. When we can easily get enough at this point of the game. More than that. There is a snake inside. Once again, a really disappointing one because it really doesn't serve us well and it just poisons the enemy. Something that I probably won't stand by. Anyway, in here though, after you defeat these 3, there is definitely a present at the end of this because it took us such a long walk to get to. In fact, don't be a slacker. If you work hard, you'll get good stuff. Ain't that the truth? I couldn't agree more with the opinion on the left billboard. Yeah, that is just really funny. Anyway, this contains a super plush bear. So yeah, we now have a stuffed companion that's gonna die for us once again. Because we love sending teddy bears to their deaths so they could die for us. Because, well, they can die for us for all I care. Because, well, frame rate is dropping. I just realized that because there's gonna be so many objects being loaded at once. I built a bulletin board without a message. Yeah, that is just so funny to me. I don't know why. Anyway, the grass is always greener on the other rope. I wonder why that is. The grass is always greener in the other rope. I wonder why that is. Yeah, all 4 of these signs say the same exact thing with no differences whatsoever. Anyway, let's go up these ropes one at a time. I know which exactly is the right rope, but the ends of all these ropes contain something funny, like this one. If you work hard, you don't have time to get burned. That is true. In fact, guessing and checking to me, is the bigger reward than getting it on your first try, because at least you get to read all these signs, a lot of which can be really funny. In fact, let's go to this one right here. Learn from your mistakes. Follow this and you're bound to be successful in Earthbound, or Tales, or Final Fantasy, or any RPG ever. Yeah, that is pretty much the mantra to every video game ever. Anyway, so let's go into this rope. I intentionally skipped the 3rd one because that is indeed the correct one. However, the signs make it all worth it. You have a strong-looking body. Wouldn't you like to be a dungeon worker? Probably. Anyway, so let's go up the correct path because, well, it's the right path, and of course there's gonna be a lot of stuff. So, into the right path we go, and down this path. Yeah. These signs are basically make fun of RPG dungeons, if I haven't said that enough. This is the 2nd floor of my body. Yeah, if you want to know where, a later sign will point that out. What is a dungeon? That is my eternal question. Yeah, that is true. Things are say it's a dungeon by definition in RPG, but even though it doesn't look like it. I put out a bulletin board, but it's probably unnecessary. Well, that is true. In fact, this one was so easy to get. It'll give you 10 bucks. Yeah. Well, he's not wrong about the easy to get presents disappointing. There's a hole down below. You don't have to worry about this for now. Keyword for now, because that hole is going to be important much later on. Anyway, let's go down this path to read another sign to see what it has to say about RPG dungeons. Inside the dungeon, flash photography is prohibited. Unless you're Pokemon. Well, you won't do flash photography, you'll just do flash. So flash away. Anyway, so, there's another sign here, and this diamond enemy. We have seen this enemy before, in Winters. The Lesser Mook. And this introduces a particularly dangerous status ailment known as diamondization. Diamondization is basically petrification in Earthbound. So yeah, anytime they are diamondized, they can't move at all. They are basically treated as dead. And if everyone is diamondized, well, it's basically a game over. Or at least everyone that, well, is alive and not dead. If anyone's alive but petrified, or excuse me, diamondized, they are pretty much dead. And Paula reached level 48, but it's not going to mean much because it didn't make her learn anything, just increase in stats. I mean, I saw that rocks. You are standing right around my belly button! So we went from his butt, right up to his belly. Yay? Anyway, what does this sign have to say? There is an item at the dead end, but I have been known to be wrong occasionally. Sorry! Well, you're not wrong being wrong occasionally because that is a total lie. Well, that dead end, because it should contain a present. This music is one of my greatest accomplishments. It smells like flowers in here. If you can't smell it, your nose must be stuffy. Yeah, I decided to keep quiet just to let you listen to the music because he says it's his greatest accomplishments, but I tend to disagree. Anyway, you contain the PSI caramel, but we are carrying too much crap. That is very crappy. Well, time to use a royal iced tea on Jeff. In fact, I might as well use a lot of the stuff we have on Jeff because, well, we have a lot of things. I'm gonna throw away the snake bag. I don't need it anymore. Anyway, so there is a present down there which I want to get, but first, this sign. Dungeon exploration is rough, but it's also fun, depending on the dungeon. I have plenty of dungeons that I hated exploring and never want to go to again. By the way, we got a Sudden Guts pill. I might as well use those too, considering we still have the original one. Screw it, I'm just gonna throw them away. Yeah, I thought about it, and I have not used a Sudden Guts pill. They can be helpful, but more than often than not, it probably didn't help me at all. Anyway, there is a pizza inside, which I believe pizza is something to show at friends, so... Oh, that pizza is single target. It didn't say you could show at friends, so it's single target. Even though that is clearly a whole pizza. Well, at least according to the item description. And this is not the virtual console menu. This is the third floor of my body. So we have moved up from his body to the chest area, or the pecs. Anyway, Mad Duck, they could be a nice pet if they stay far away. Haha, they can't get us, they're basically in a zoo. Anyway, so, yeah, this is basically a zoo full of enemies that we have seen in Winters. Gruff goat, they are a really gruff kind of goat. No kidding, good sir. Anyway, look, piles of barf. Slimy little pile, he has a bad habit of burping. Brick Road. So, there is another present here if I'm not mistaken. Well, right by this bench. There is a wet towel, which we don't need, so I'm gonna go throw it away. On second thought, I'm going to keep it because one of us might get sunstroked and I want to conserve on PP. Anyway, so, with the frame rate dropping because there are so many objects over there. Good job, you finally made it! There is a board upstairs that says that. Let me guess, the next board we encounter in the next floor, which I assume is his head, is gonna say, great job, you made it. Good job, you finally made it! Okay, I was totally right. Anyway, that face is mine. Feel free to talk to it. Once again, Brick Road's face kinda looks like a butt to me. I don't know why. Welcome! Long time no see, Mr. Jeff. We met in Winters a long time ago. I'm Brick Road. Dr. Andonut's finally made me Dungeon Man. If you want, I'll come with you guys for a while. The return hole is over there. Jump into that hole and then walk out. So yeah. Oh, there's a butterfly there, but I don't need it right now. And return hole, jump in with all your courage. So we're basically jumping down from his head all the way back down to his butt, where he's gonna probably poop us out. Goodbye, exit. Someday you should enter with courage. Yeah, that hole is being blocked by that sign, so don't worry about it for now. Anyway, let's go into these holes. All the way down to his pecs. Right down to his belly button. That isn't in the range fire plug. I believe we encountered that back in Moonside, which should be easy to deal with now because we are at a higher level. Yeah. Once again, I did not know that enemy exists in Dungeon Man at all. Anyway, so we have a present. There's an IQ capsule. Yeah, you bet your sweet pippies I'm going to use this on Jeff because I want his IQ to be at 45. And hopefully by the next level up, Jeff will be able to have that IQ quantity, so we should be able to fix that broken bazooka. Hopefully by this battle. And no level up from Jeff. Let's see how much EXP he needs for a level. Oh yeah, I was reading experience points, but EXP for next level. It won't be that long now, because upon exiting, Dungeon Man is now following us, meaning Dungeon Man is going to participate in all battles. He is too big, so he's going to bump into enemies a lot often. However, Dungeon Man hits hard. He hits like a truck, so using these enemies to grind is probably no problem for you anymore because, well, once again, these guys hit like a... Dungeon Man hits like a truck, provided he actually hits something. But when he does, oh man, that is powerful. Okay, Dungeon Man, do your thing. 349 damage. Okay, it's not that different from the damage we've been dealing ourselves, but he gets the job done quite nicely. Ness is now at level 54, even though we probably didn't even need it. But yeah, so it's in your best interest to do some grinding. And if you go to down here on the southern part of the Scaraba Desert, holy moly, children! Who is that big guy with you? His name is Dungeon Man. Are you sure you're gonna get him in the picture? He's really, really big compared to us. I'm gonna try, children. I might not get his face, but at least he's happy to see you, right? Ready, say, Fuzzy Pickles! I don't think you got him. You only got his feet. I'll check it out during development, but if I didn't get his face, then that's the way it goes. Okay, see you! Yeah, Dungeon Man is now part of our picture. Yeah, you can go there at any time. I was just saving it until we got Dungeon Man because, well, we can. Anyway, so, that guy is gone. I want to see his reaction to our newly found Dungeon Man friend. Anyway, so yeah, we could be able to buy some stuff now, and somebody got sunstroked! Oh my god, there's a great criminal caterpillar right there. I must get it. Yes! Got him. Jeff is now at level 47, which means IQ up by 1, yes. So I gotta find a place to sleep so he could be able to fix that broken bazooka. Paul is now at level 49. Sweet. Even though her stats didn't raise much. Anyway, let's go to the southern part and find that our newly found Dungeon Man friend has a problem. Gah! Oh no, I am getting caught in the palm trees. I can't move. Well, if I cannot move, it is okay. Ness, it makes me sad, but I must say goodbye here at my eternal resting place. Couldn't you just crush the palm trees? You're huge. Yeah, that's the way it goes. We have to say goodbye to our Dungeon Man friend. Anyway, once we explore further, we realize that we are at a dead end. We cannot go any further than this. So let's talk to this guy because he must have something to say. But first, I'm gonna give this wet towel to Paula because she's sunstroked. Anyway, so, a scary place called Deep Darkness is on the other side of the river. The monsters are very strong, and you can lose your health just by wandering in the swamp. Do you want to cross the river, even though you know it's a stupid idea? This is an RPG. Stupid ideas are encouraged. We do stupid ideas because we can, because it helps us save the world. So yes, we will go with that stupid idea. The swamp is bottomless. Even if you're swimming, you'll be dragged in. It is a different story if you have a submarine. Where have we seen a submarine before? A submarine? I believe that I have one in my old vehicle collection. Please enter. So yeah, we're gonna go back to Dungeon Man and we have to go all the way back up to talk to him. But first, let's rest because Jeff now has the IQ to rebuild one of the broken things he has. Working through the night, Jeff fixed the broken bazooka. After being fixed, the broken bazooka became the heavy bazooka. That took forever, and I got ambushed a couple of times by enemies. And good, we did not get ambushed this time. But yeah, so I'll see you guys back at the head, because the broken bazooka is very useful for Jeff, and it was so worth all that patience just to get. To put it in perspective, let's see what the broken bazooka is if I can find it. Oh yeah, the heavy bazooka. Really dishes out a lot of damage to an enemy during battle. Because of its explosive power, it may affect others besides the target creature. Which means it can probably affect us as well. I'm not sure about that, so we'll see. I might as well demonstrate the broken bazooka right now as soon as we get a chance to move. Hopefully it doesn't hit us as well, but we'll see. So, goods, heavy bazooka, blast away. Never mind, Paula killed that thing in one hit because that is the department store enemy that we have battled before. So yeah, I guess I'll meet you guys back at the heads so that, well, we could be able to continue the story because you've seen all this before. You read all the signs. I've gone over why I love this dungeon so much and always gleefully look forward to it even when I'm not playing the game. Yeah. So, I'll meet you guys back at the head to meet Brick Road. And up the rope we go. Good job, you finally made it! Yep, here we are at the head. So yeah, I just wanted to read that sign again because that always cracks me up every single time. Anyway, let's talk to Buttface Brick Road. There's an old submarine at the back of the dungeon. It can be used to cross the river. There's a goodbye exit over there. It will take you to the submarine. Don't make a mistake on which exit you make. You need to take the goodbye exit. Hope to see you again. So yeah, where's this goodbye exit? Well, I did allude to it before we took this exit. The goodbye exit, which hopefully leads out his... Well, actually, hopefully doesn't lead out his butthole. Or possible penis. And go inside these holes. Hey guys, remember that hole that sign said was gonna be important later on? Well, here it is. So now here we are back at the first floor. Probably his butt. And in here, we get a talisman ribbon. And good thing it was given to Paula because that is a new equipment. In fact... Oh, I was at Ness. But, in fact, this is a good defense increase for Paula, so you bet you want to equip this. Anyway, off this field of mushrooms. And, well, up to the old vehicle collection. In fact, I set up a telephone line in the dungeon. I wonder if that's controversial. I don't know if it's allowed to... If it's controversial to have a telephone in the dungeon. I have not seen discussions on that on any forums at all. Old vehicle collection. This is my secret hobby. Brick Road. Anyway, taxi with no engine. Beautiful even though the thing doesn't run. Yeah, this is... Anyway, this is a rusty bicycle. Rust is the perfect brake. And you are. This is a gift from Dr. Andonuts. Be careful how you use it. Brick Road. So yeah, if we examine it, we can be able to heal ourselves. So yeah, use this time to heal yourself if you have been in pretty rough shape on your way here. So, the last thing, the submarine. Broken down old submarine. The yellow color is purely coincidental. Purely coincidental, my butt. I'm pretty sure that is purely intentional, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Jeff checked the broken submarine. Yes, it can still work. Ness and his friends carried the submarine that Jeff fixed. here we are. Onto the submarine we go, with this flying music that this game seems to love so much, even though it uses different music when we sailed from Summers to Scaraba. Yeah, I am not going to question it. You know, I've always wanted to ride on a submarine. And I mean a real actual submarine that goes in the ocean, not the Disneyland ride themed after Finding Nemo. That is the closest you can get to a submarine, but not really. I mean a real submarine, even though it could pretty much crack under the pressure of water. Anyway, you see the water getting darker? Well, here we are at our next destination, the deep darkness. And this is where we are going to get off, because, well, it's swampy enough. Welcome to the deep darkness, where the trees are, well, no duh, dark. And the monkeys run into the forest. You can stay here for free. Do you want to spend the night? No. I swear it doesn't smell like monkeys. You are wrong. And if you talk to this toucan... Ring, ring, ring! Yep, it's a phone, which means you can use it to save. However, I'm gonna go check my inventory really quick. Because... Okay, I'm gonna throw away this Pharaoh's Curse because that's not gonna be that particularly helpful. However, if you call the Escargot Express now, this is about the delivery of the Hawkeye. We'll send someone right away. So yeah, they're gonna send us the Hawkeye right away, so you can't really do any more storage stuff with us, and anytime now, Espresso guy. Ah, there you are. At least you're dedicated to your customers. We treat your package like it was your only child. Yeah, that is a good headline for the delivery service, but yeah, here's the Hawkeye. So, what do we do with the Hawkeye? Well, we use it. So, Hawkeye! The Hawkeye can't be used here. Okay, so, I would use it now, but I'm gonna save it for later. So, next time on Earthbound, we're gonna be exploring the deep darkness. We're in all its dark glory. I will see you guys next time. Bye!